It was a calm evening on October 8th, 1871. Catherine O'Leary, a humble Irish immigrant and farmer, stepped into her wooden barn on Chicago's southwest side to perform a simple daily ritual, milking her cows. The day had been hot and dry, unusually warm for fall. The sun had set, but Chicago still buzzed with life, unaware that before dawn the city would be fighting for survival. Inside their modest home, her husband Patrick relaxed after a long day's work. With neighbors visiting, they chatted about the newly passed U.S. 15th Amendment, which granted voting rights regardless of race. Those were simpler days. No phones, no TVs, just stories, laughter, and strong community bonds. The O'Learys were one of many immigrant families, Irish, German, Polish, working hard for a better life in the growing city. But that night, something happened in the barn. After milking, Catherine carried the pails of fresh milk to the house, leaving a calf still suckling from its mother. There was no electricity then, only kerosene lanterns to light the dark. She left one burning in the corner. The calf grew playful, nudging and kicking. Its mother reacted, jerking her hind leg. The lantern toppled, kerosene spilled across the hay, and in an instant flame burst to life. Within minutes the barn was engulfed. The wind howled through wooden alleyways, carrying embers from one rooftop to another. Chicago, a city built almost entirely of wood, even the sidewalks, was a giant tinderbox. By midnight, the heart of the city was ablaze. Churches, hotels, homes, and entire neighborhoods turned to ash. Firefighters, exhausted from battling another fire the day before, were powerless to stop it. The fire raged for over 24 hours, consuming 3 square miles of the city. When it finally died, 300 lives were lost and more than 100,000 people were left homeless. And through it all, one name filled the headlines: Catherine O'Leary. The newspapers told a simple story. Cow kicks over lantern, city burns. It was dramatic, it was easy to believe, and it gave the public someone to blame. Her name was mocked in songs, printed in headlines, whispered in bars. Children pointed when she walked by. She never sought fame, yet history painted her as its arsonist. But Catherine always insisted there was more to that night than anyone knew. Neighbors swore they heard strange noises before the flames, like voices arguing, a door slamming, the sound of hooves when no animal was loose. Some said a figure had been seen fleeing the barn moments before the fire caught. Others whispered about rival farmers, debt collectors, and a mysterious man who had visited the O'Learys earlier that day. Catherine never spoke of that visitor again, but sometimes, late at night, she'd stare into the glow of her fireplace, her eyes reflecting something between guilt and sorrow, as if the fire still burned behind them. The years passed, and Chicago rose again, stronger, prouder, built of brick and steel instead of timber. But the story of that night refused to die. The cow, the lantern, and the woman in the barn became immortal. Some say Catherine's barn still stands, invisible beneath the city streets. On quiet autumn nights, when the wind turns dry and restless, a faint smell of smoke lingers in the air, and if you listen closely, you might hear the soft lowing of a cow, echoing from a time when a simple spark changed everything. This was the night Chicago burned, not just by flame, but by fate, and from its ashes a legend was born. If you love stories that bring history to life, mystery, myth, and moments that shaped our world, don't forget to subscribe.